report from CNN's Jim Acosta. More than 17,000 US citizens registered to move to New Zealand in November of 2016 when Donald Trump was elected President of the United States. Immigration New Zealand says site visits jumped by 2,500% after the election. So how many Americans actually followed through and moved here? Our reporter Jessie Chang tracked down one family who moved their entire lives more than 12,000 kilometres from Texas to Auckland.
We will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Every American presidential election arguably captures the attention of many, but the eyes of the world were glued to the rise of former reality television host and businessman Donald Trump in 2016, some with rapt delight and others with shock horror. Texas natives John and Madeline Nash were a part of the latter group. They had talked about moving before the election, but with deep roots there, digging them up and moving was tough.
So it was what we had always known. You know, we have family there, we had friends there, we had a community in Texas.
We still do.
We still do, yeah, that's true. And it was something where we could envision raising our kids there, but slowly things started to change.
Changes like the unavoidable reality of school shootings. The Nashes have two children, 5-year-old Robert and 3-year-old Meadow. Going to school open days were confronting.
The parent tour was 60 minutes long, and 15 of that was spent on how proud they are of their live shooter drills in school. And that's just shocking to think about, that the schools are spending that much time and emphasis preparing kids on what to do when someone with a gun comes into a school.
Mr. Nash says gun control was a problem he could no longer ignore.
There's this new reality, which is children are no longer safe, and they can't be made safe, and you don't know where it's going to happen, and you don't know when it's going to happen. And that the level of fear that goes along with that is so intense that everybody has to prepare and everybody has to think about it. And the politics are so intractable that there is no solution that's going to come anytime soon, if ever. So, you know, you look at all those dynamics and you think, wow, okay, this is kind of messy. What are the alternatives? And the alternative that we quickly wrapped our heads around was, let's go someplace else.
It all came to a head on the 8th of November 2016. Like many Democrats, the Nashes thought Hillary Clinton had it in the bag, but then results started coming in.
And I remember having a very real fight or flight, bodily reaction to that, because it was frightening. I mean, it was this. Even though I was not in any physical danger or anything like that, that's kind of what it felt like. As more poll results came in and it became more and more obvious, we kind of sat down and looked at each other, and I think over the next day or two, we were part of that massive group of people who were checking out immigration websites.
There were more than 7,000 registrations from American citizens interested in moving to New Zealand in a 24-hour period the day after the election. At the time, Immigration New Zealand said it normally received about 3,000 registrations a month. The Nashes had never visited, but were determined to give it a go.
I don't think New Zealand would have been on our radar without those criteria, but they were the right criteria for us. And then we started doing some research into New Zealand, and New Zealand is a world beater in a lot of the categories that are
Care about.
It's God's own, right? It's that wonderful here, and we didn't know it because we had never been here, but the pictures look good, so we thought, all right,
we'll give it a try.
Yeah. And we've been really happy with that decision.
Whilst there were huge amounts of interest from fellow Americans, only about 1,800 have been granted a work or residence visa since October 2016. The Nash family moved to New Zealand in June this year, and they say even a Democrat win in 2020 won't tempt them to go back.
If the Democrats win in 2020, there has been so much fire stoked on both sides that it has the potential to be combustible.
So it's little country at the bottom of the world instead of the brimming metropolis of Austin for the Nashes. And that's just fine with them. Mo te hōtaka o te ahi nei, Kōrisi Chang tēnei.